Hey everyone, welcome back to the All Music Matters Net podcast. I'm your host, Brian. Today I welcome some special guests from way down south in Tampa Bay, Florida. We got the boys from Anxiety Attack. We got Jeremiah, Rykky, Alex, and Dakota. How you boys doing today?
We be doing.
Doing good.
I was waiting for Alex and Dakota, but all right, that's all good.
Oh,
Yeah,
no, you're good. I didn't know when to come in, but I'm all right.
Now.
Just hanging in
I
there.
was gonna say that's your cue. That whole
Yeah.
thing. Yeah,
10
That's all.
seconds ago, Alex.
come on, too slow, man. Acting is not in your field of careers, that's for sure. So that's
And
all.
I always miss my cue.
But anyway, how you boys doing today? What's new?
We're doing good. Keeping pretty busy. Have some new music out, and just been trying to get ourselves out there into the scene as much as we can.
I'm gonna say, look at Rykky. He's got all them hacker tattoos. I guess. What do you got going there?
What was that?
Let's say all the tattoos you got right there. You got facial tattoos. I guess I think earlier you have all of them around the arms.
Pretty much covered everywhere. Just a bit of work.
That's why you know he's a
He
bad
has all the
boy.
tattoos in the band.
Only a bit.
Yeah.
A bit. Staying out of trouble right now.
That's good. Stay out of jail, kids. That's for sure. Okay. So, everyone, I want to welcome you to my podcast right here. So the way it's going to work is, and first off, I got to get the questions back up. Just gonna ask you guys some questions. Let's get to know more about the band, but also about you guys as well here too. So, are you all ready?
Yep.
Yeah, you're shoot.
Yep.
All right, I'll take that as a yes. All right, so Jeremiah, here you can go first. If everyone else can mute their mics, so Jeremiah can talk, we'll go like this. All right. So Jeremiah, tell us a little about yourself. I guess what role do you play in the band, and how did you become a musician?
I started. My brother was in a band. He's about 5 years older than me, and I'm a singer, by the way. He, was doing a lot of shows, a lot of local places. I'm from South Florida, so like middle of nowhere. So everybody in town would just show up to the shows. And I really wanted to sing for the band. And I just practiced and practiced all the time. I used to skip a lot of school. That's why I'm so stupid. But yeah, so like that was back when I was like 11 or 12, and I just practiced a lot. And then I started joining bands as like an instrumentalist, as like a bassist. And I didn't tell anybody I could sing, but then I finally did. And I started singing for a band in high school. July Disaster. It was a fucking disaster. Sorry for the F word. But yeah, man, I just be doing it, keep the dopamine flowing, just practice all the time. But I look at the band like an outlet, just to get stuff out, and it's really fun, man. We practice like once or twice a week. We do a lot of stuff. But yeah, that's it for me, man. I just enjoy doing it. Yeah.
I think being the vocalist, he also wanted to pick up chicks easier that way too. So I can see why. Though I think they're going for the bassist and the drummer these days here too. So, Rykky, I guess what role do you play in the band, and how did you become a musician?
Start role would be lead guitarist. How I became a musician, just love through music. Can still remember like the first song I ever heard. Just something about guitar always spoke to me. I feel like I'm a pretty diverse musician, but there's just something about riffs that go hard to me, and be able to, take what's in my mind and turn it into something physical. But a lot of influences that I have that have really gotten me here, kind of made me who I am based off my style, music that's gotten me through, rough days. There's an emotion for all of it. So just has always been a huge part of my life since I can really remember. Took a little more time to get good at it than I would have preferred, but, stuck with it. Now I'm 20 some years into playing, and it's just a way of life.
That's cool. So I would say one of your inspirations with the tattoos had to have been Travis Barker. I'm seriously calling that right now.
Yeah, big Blink-182 fan all around, but yeah, Travis Barker is by far top two drummers to me. So yeah, I love that guy. Tom DeLonge as well with his writing style. But yeah, they're by far one of my bigger influences. I'd say overall we're all pretty big Blink-182 fans.
Good to influence is just a second too, but let's hear Alex's story. So go ahead.
All right. It's to me now. Yay. So I'm Alex. I play drums in Anxiety Attack. I guess my love for music started just as a kid. Growing up around my mom, I was big on the '80s stuff. The one album that sticks out to me was Van Halen one. Just hearing Eddie Van Halen just go crazy. I wanted to originally play guitar. I started playing guitar when I was like three or in like third or fourth grade. My older brother, who is 6 years older than me, he wanted to get into music, so my family bought him a bunch of music gear. You know, they bought him piano, guitar, stuff like that. And I wanted to play guitar, but I had tiny hands. I couldn't stretch my fingers to make chord shapes, so I just kind of gave up on that real quick after months and months of frustration. So then, when I was in fifth or sixth grade, I started playing drums. Drums just kind of came naturally. My mom always joked that I was named after Alexander Van Halen, so kind of makes sense. Um, but yeah, I had an older cousin who was in high school drumline, and he once he stopped playing drums, he gave me his drum set, and the whole neighborhood enjoyed that first week of me having a drum set. Um, you could hear me for miles and miles and miles. But um, yeah, it's really just like I don't know. Uh, Drums is just it. Like there's nothing I've cared about more in my life besides playing drums. Like that's it. My high school band director would be furious with me all the time because of um, I would skip classes in high school and I'd go down to the band room and just take the entire drum set and put it inside one of our tiny practice rooms. And I would just put on my headphones and play Blink 182, A Day to Remember, Green Day, and I would just play for hours and hours, just playing along to Foo Fighters and Nirvana, and the list goes on of influences that kind of stick out to me. But yeah, that's really it. Um, I grew a big relationship with my older brother through punk music. He always grew up on Green Day and Blink and kind of passed that down to me. So now I'm in a punk band. He's not. So
Does he work a boring desk job?
um, he did for a while. Him and I were both working doing real estate like a title company, and I hated it so much. But it's what paid the bills to travel and play music and stuff like that. But not the ideal outcome. Not the ideal outcome by any means.
Yeah, I can understand. And actually, we should hang out more because I was actually real big into Van Halen as well. I always remember just dancing to like the Van Roth days up till like mainly the fourth album too. I do have to ask, which one, Alex, is your favorite Van Halen album?
My favorite Van Halen album. It's a tie between either Van Halen one or 1984. Um, I want to say Van Halen one just because of the just because of how iconic it was. Just hearing, just sitting in the car, being 6, 7, 8, not knowing what's going on. You hear the intro to Running with the Devil and Ain't Talking About Love and hearing Eddie shred on Eruption. It's I feel like nothing for a first album, I feel like nothing tops that.
That's for sure too. All right. And let's hear Dakota's story.
Yeah, so I mean, that's like, pretty similar to everybody else. I feel like Blink 182 is kind of like one of the main influences. I got into guitar in like high school and stuff, and I feel like because I got into Blink right at the same time, it kind of worked out where like a lot of easy riffs to play. Like it was just a lot of fun, fast pop punk music, and I was really enjoying playing guitar for the first time, and it really got me into music in general. And just ever since high school, I've been playing in various punk bands and there's all kinds of genres and stuff. But mainly, like I said, I think Blink 182 is like more or less our main influence overall.
I guess who introduced you to music? Was it one of your parents?
Yeah, my dad played music and stuff, so we always had like music gear around. So I always tried to get into playing guitar a couple times when I was younger, but never really stuck with it until like high school and properly took the time and actually sat down and practiced.
Yeah, that's for sure. All right. So I guess who can give the backstory of like how Anxiety Attack formed? So I guess was it Jeremiah, or I guess who wants to give the history? Okay, Rykky, go ahead.
Cool. So, guess this project formulated about 2020, a little bit before it. We definitely had our hiccups through the process, finding the right people and everything. But originally, it started between me and Alex. Would go the furthest back to 2020. We got put on hiatus around COVID, like a lot of bands did. Weren't able to do a whole lot live. Banged out a lot of demo stuff, but didn't really have the right pieces overall amongst vocals, amongst a bassist, other guitarists. So we had a good year and a half, I want to say, of just searching for the right members to kind of get everything where we really wanted it, get the sound, full, and just find that lineup that we thought would just, do us the right justice. So finally came across the rest of these guys. Met Jeremiah last year in about July, I want to say, and Dakota shortly after. So everybody more or less in the fall that's in the new lineup. And since then, we've just been rocking and knocking out as much as we really can. The ball started rolling about 200% compared to where it was for a good duration of time while we were just member searching, plugging people in that just didn't work out, people flake, that whole scenario. So now that we've got the lineup that we've always wanted, I feel like we're hitting it pretty hard and finally getting some things done.
Is there a fifth member of the group that couldn't join us today?
There is, yeah, bass player. His name's John. Believe he's working, but yeah, he actually just got put in a couple weeks back. Has worked out great, but he'd be the newest member of the band.
It's just real quick, I guess. How'd you meet him? I don't know if you mentioned it yet.
I want to say he ended up messaging our Instagram, so I'm not too sure if it was an ad that we threw out or that he had maybe seen us somewhere and saw that we were looking for a bassist. He's pretty quick with it. Learned majority of the set, within a few days. So put some quick learning into it and got really where we wanted him to be fast and showed that he could hang and play the songs. But yeah, he actually ended up finding us.
I guess last two part just for the band. I guess where'd you get the name Anxiety Attack, and who made the art piece with Colin wearing a VR headset?
That'd be me on both. Figured I'd have to name it after my number one disorder. Everybody has anxiety in some sense, so I felt like it's relatable. Also gives great subject matter when it comes down to doing visuals, merch, stuff like that. Goes with pop punk too. I feel like a lot of pop punk just sounds like anxiety in a song, a lot of angst and rage. So it just kind of fits the overall genre, I feel. But yeah, the VR monkey ape has been our main logo for some time now. I want to say I drew that up probably about 4 years back. Feel like it's a good representation of what we're about in a photo, that's for sure. Nonetheless, yeah, a lot of other cool artwork that we have that visualizes the band in some sense.
I mean, I've seen things on Facebook that catch out like videos of like apes and like other animals going crazy whenever they saw their reflection in a mirror.
So, yeah. Figured you don't know what he's looking at. He's just having anxiety.
Yep. You never know what's going on right up in here too. So maybe it's probably a good thing to check that out, or get that checked out, we should say. So
most likely.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could always go therapist.
All right. So I know you mentioned about COVID here too, but we'll start with Jeremiah first. But I guess how bad did COVID impact you, family, and music wise?
Well, I got laid off from a resort I was working at. That sucked. And then I had just joined a band in like January 2020. So I was in that band for like 2 months. And then COVID happened, and the guitarist he was a technician at a huge venue that did like Madonna, like all these like massive like pop stars. And he got laid off. So he was in the band doing like, I don't know how he made money. I'm gonna be real. I have no idea how he had 3 kids. I have no idea. But he ended up taking a job in North Carolina, and the whole band broke up. So I was in that band for like 10 months, but COVID, that was terrible. COVID messed that band up. And then, here in Florida, we were only closed for like 3 or 4 months, I think. But the regulations were like, as a bartender, that was trash. Like, nobody was allowed to be at my bar. I had to put a rope around it. I was doing a lot of delivery shifts extra. I was working like 70 hours a week, like, but music wise, I mean, I wrote a bunch of songs during the pandemic that were pretty good, but you know, didn't matter because I was in a band that broke up. But yeah, man, COVID sucked. I wouldn't say anything good happened during that. That was a big old waste of time. I wish it didn't happen. I'd probably be a lot farther in life. But, it is what it is. You just got to roll with it.
I'll tell you about everybody else. Just real quick before I move on to somebody else. Did you have any brushes with COVID personally?
Any questions?
No. Did you have any brushes with COVID?
Oh, brushes? Dude, in February of 2020, I started at a resort. I was there for like 3 months. And everybody at the resort was from New York at that time. And I got COVID, like, I didn't know what it was. I was just, man, dude, I'm sick again. Like, it was just over and over. I probably got COVID like 6 or 7 times in 2020. It was terrible, man. I think I've had it since then, like a few times, but not nearly as bad. But dude, I mean, and then having to work all kinds of extra hours because everybody else is sick. Yeah, it was not fun. It was not a good time. Yeah, yeah. Kind of wish it didn't happen, but yeah, me and everybody else.
Yeah. I was picturing like Night of the Living Dead when he's just trying to get into his car and everything too. He's like a zombie just trying to get in the car and just all to do the Uber deliveries, or were you like DoorDash?
Oh, I used to work for a company. It was an Italian restaurant, and they did delivery. So I came back and did delivery, and it was a really good. Like they were super good to me. But it was like probably an hour away from where I live, so I had to drive an hour there, and then I wouldn't, an hour back. So it was like I was working like 12 to 14 hours a day doing that. And I mean, the people were really taking care of delivery drivers though, so it was awesome. And I got to like sing and write in my car, but like it was just weird having to wear a mask in my car constantly, or people would see the sign and then they would call like, "Oh, your driver's not wearing a mask." But you know, it is what it is. Like, yeah, put a bunch of miles on my car. I didn't need to, but you know, it was fun.
You had therapy in the car, to say the least, there too. So I can see why. Right. And Rykky?
Yeah, COVID fucked up a lot of stuff. Not just musically, which kind of I mentioned put us on hiatus, and wasn't a whole lot we could physically go out and do. But yeah, I'm a tattoo artist, so it kind of stopped everything from happening money wise as well. We had at least the luxury of being able to just take individual appointments and not tell anybody. So kind of kept some things happening at the same time. I also decided to move during COVID and attempt Miami, thinking that it would be a busier city and they have some nightlife, and that was a complete bust. So I ended up coming back to Tampa pretty quickly. I feel like any other time I would have went out to Miami, it would have been great, but yeah, it was dead. The whole strip was shut down, and yeah, the COVID rules kind of killed anything nightlife wise. So yeah, it was a very just boring. Was that about a year and a half that it lasted in total? But just hold up of even with some of the restrictions being off, can't go anywhere, can't do anything. There's no live music. There's just no anything fun. Was yeah, a little dark and dreary for sure for that time span. But I feel like it kind of helped maybe music in a sense. A lot of people have been going back out since then, supporting live music, getting out there because they remember how awful it was during that time span that they had nothing to do. and how much they miss these things. We did some stuff, like similar, just live, like streams and stuff during that time span. Recorded a lot and, banged out as much audio stuff as we could. So we made use of it, I feel, musically and as good as we could. But yeah, glad those days are over.
I'm just picturing like this scenario when 2020 comes around. It's like no fun, no nightlife, no live music. Hey, no use living. So
yeah, nothing at all. I thought like, cool, we're going into the 20s, going to be a great decade. Yeah, that shit got shut down real fast.
the roaring 20s, as they were meant to be called. So
Roaring 20s.
the scarred 20s, we probably should say, or something like that. So
yeah, pretty much.
I can see why you're a tattoo artist, especially. Did you do your own tattoos, or does somebody else do it for you?
Places I can reach, so like legs, small spots that I can get away with. Some places are more difficult to tattoo yourself than others. But yeah, I feel like we all probably practice on our legs to kind of get an idea of what we're doing before we throw it on someone else. So yeah, I did a little bit of that when I first started. Can't really say that I've been too eager to do any of my own since then. I'd rather, wait for somebody I know that's free to, run on me. Wish I would have done that before I got so much too, just because now they're free. Nonetheless, yeah, definitely have done a few on myself.
I guess, were you okay? Did you have any brushes with COVID?
I got COVID once, yeah. Pretty typical, I feel, as far as like symptoms and, just kind of 2 weeks in, out, done with it. Otherwise, it was pretty simple for me, just more boring.
That's good to hear. All right. And Alex?
Yeah, for me, COVID was kind of like a nice, well-needed vacation, actually. Like Rykky said, with us kind of being on a hiatus, and like Rykky and I were still kind of in the loop of trying to find members, but no one really wanted to meet and stuff just because of COVID and stuff like that. But it was nice. I just kind of took a break from music, and I still had my drum kit and my guitars, so I just jammed in my bedroom and didn't really go outside. So it was nice to get away from the hustle and bustle of practice, shows, doing this, doing that. It was nice to just kind of go at my own leisurely pace. I could practice whenever I wanted to. I could sleep whenever I wanted to. I didn't have to worry about like, oh, I gotta stay up late tonight because I gotta go to practice or I got a show. It was kind of nice. I could just sit back and more or less spend time with my family. Since realistically, all right, ESPN, I get it. The baseball game ended. But yeah, it was kind of nice just sitting back and spending time with my family. I mean, the family that would let me see them, of course. I had some people who would swear up and down they did not want to see me. And then I had some family that was like, hey, come on over. We got the same blood, we got the same germs, but yeah, it was really kind of nice just to take a break from music and just work and, relax.
Yeah, I was kind of the same way, even though I was finally able to work from home whenever it started happening. So I can see why. And I guess, Alex, did you have any brushes with COVID? Were you okay?
I more or less didn't. I had kind of one occasion that I was I was sick during the pandemic, but it was never like a diagnosed case of COVID. Everyone swore up and down it was, but to my knowledge, no, I didn't have any signs of COVID. It was just a few symptoms here and there, but granted, by the time I got it, I was already vaccinated, so I think it was just like a weakened effect. I don't know.
Say he's cured. There you go. So it's all good. But I guess you're doing well there, mate. And Dakota, close it out.
So yes, I actually, I was probably one of the few people that was actually starting a band probably during COVID. So I joined the band around like April 2020, and it was just one of those things where like since there was nothing going on, we just kind of practice, but there's not really any shows to practice for, so didn't really have going anywhere. And then as far as actually getting COVID, I did get it one time. However, you didn't really feel much effects from it. It was just basically a small cold.
That's good to hear. And it's good to see you guys are doing well there. And hopefully brighter days are ahead. But actually, when I was messaging you guys the first time, I actually just interviewed Silver Bullet Smile. And they're out of the Tampa Bay area, too. So are you guys in around Tampa? Are you all close by as well? I would say, I guess, how's the scene been? I was going to say, all right, go ahead. What were you going to say, Rykky?
I was going to say,
Oh, sorry,
Yeah,
Dakota.
we're more or less all throughout the Tampa area. Jeremiah's out in Orlando. Alex is a little bit more north. Then me, Dakota, and then new bassists are pretty much right in the heart of Tampa.
When I was interviewing Silver Bullet Smile, they kind of said how Tampa was like the mecca of like the heavy metal. I don't know how it's been recently, but they've been saying it's been on a downward slope ever since. There's only like maybe 2 venues, maybe bars at most. So I guess Jeremiah, what's your opinion of
venues and stuff? There's at least 3 or 4. Like I've been to a decent number of metal shows and just hardcore shows. There's 100% a scene for it around here. There's a lot of people that really get into that kind of thing.
I figured, but I guess since Jeremiah's out in Orlando, I guess can you tell us about how Orlando's been?
Metalcore wise, man, there are so many metal bands here. I mean, if you were to, there are a bunch of pop punk bands here, and a lot of indie bands, a lot of alternative bands, but there's a lot of metal bands. I mean, like I would say 10-1 for any other band, like, or any other kind of genre. There's, I mean, every night you could probably go see a metal band somewhere. Like Uncle Lou's, I know you're in Pittsburgh and you don't know. Every other night, there's a show going on Uncle Lou's, and the show's like, it's like twice the size of a bedroom or the venue, but yeah, that's, I don't know, man. I didn't know Tampa had like a huge metal scene. I know Orlando, massive. It's, dude, there's so, if I was a screamer, I could throw a rock and hit 10 metal bands within just me of like a 3-mile radius. There's so many, dude. And I mean, they're all pretty good that I've heard. But yeah, man, in Tampa, I mean, the Orpheum constantly plays metal shows. I get advertisements from them all the time in Tampa. But here, there used to be Back Booth here, and dude, they would have metal shows like crazy. Like the Acacia Strain, just every weekend there's a metal show at that place. But yeah, I don't know, man. I haven't really been in the metal scene for a while. I've been here for like 10 years, so it's like over the years, yeah. I don't know, man. I'm interested to see what the rest of the band has to say about Tampa in metal shows, because I mean, I thought Orlando, because we got like Trivium. We have a lot of big metal bands here, so yeah.
I guess whoever wants to take it. I know Dakota. I picked Rykky the first time, but I guess Dakota, if you want to say anything.
Well, I would just, I guess, throw on. Definitely. There's a big local scene in Tampa for sure. There's Crowbar, Brass Mug, there's several tons of venues that like sport pop punk shows too. But yeah, it does seem to lean more into the screaming. I don't know exactly if you call it metal, but more like the hardcore crowd,
But yeah, to fill everybody in, Tampa was at the time the mecca of like the heavy and death metal scenes. That's where you got like Deicide and Morbid Angel, mainly those two, but he also had Obituary at one point. And there's actually more sound studios at the Tampa Bay area. And they have some interesting stories, and it would be nice to get them on here one of these days. So that's probably not everybody in there too. But in all seriousness, it's good to see you guys are doing well there, mates. So you keep doing what you're doing, kicking some major ass out there. So, but I guess Jeremiah, for the next question right here, I guess talk about the gear that you use specifically for music production.
For production, There's been a few people I've gone to that use Cubase, but live wise, I always just use, well, for a long time I was just Sennheiser. I used Sennheiser stuff, but now I've been using what's it called? SM57.
Sure.
What's it called, Dakota? SM57.
You use a 58A beta.
Hey man, yeah. I use it every show. Like it's just I've had it for like 2 years. It gets me
You think
through.
you got used to it by now?
Yeah, yeah, you would think. But I really like Sennheiser. I thought about switching back, but I mean, for the last few venues, like I like to use my own mic, so I'm not making out with every other vocalist that's saying on there. But the last place, the guy was saying it was wireless and it's super crisp. It was some off-brand buy two for $60. I was like, man, like I almost, like a lot of times venues, it won't be like a cheap mic, but depending on the venue, it's like the sound's not very clear and like so I always just bring my own. But that last place, I was like, you didn't even have to be close to it. They didn't get any feedback, and I was like, I thought that was great, but I couldn't tell you what it is. Yeah, it's something we bought off like Amazon. But I think I have two speakers I've never even touched, and I wanted to bring them to practice one day just to use them, but I think they're way too loud. Um, Dang it, man! I have a ton of gear, and I've just been accumulating it. And besides that mic, I mean that mic I use, that 58, man, that gets me through thick and thin. Everywhere I go, I got like uh, now I got a new bass and an orange cab. I don't know, man. I do have a Yamaha piano that my ex bought me for like $700, and that's pretty awesome. But music gear wise, I mean, I've been messing with some Ableton, but I suck at it. So I guess you got to suck before you're good. But yeah, that's it for me, man. I don't. I guess in the next couple of years, I'm just gonna keep accumulating it. I'm gonna have to like buy a storage unit to put all my sound gear in. Hopefully, not forget about it.
That's normally how the evolution of it always goes for a musician. They always suck at something and then they eventually get good at it. So, hey. And Rykky?
For mine, guitar-wise, I've jumped around to a few different types over the years. I've always kind of found myself playing either like Fender, LTD, or I've had a couple different Gibsons over the time. But more recently, just pretty much found my sound by modding Fender Stratocasters. I'm pretty much got the whole thing, rewire it up, put a hot EMG in there, and just one on the bridge, and I'm good to go. So kind of now found my signature guitar style that I guess I like to play that gives me the tone that I like. Amp setting, stuff like that's pretty simple. I've always been an orange fan. Scoop out the mids, bump up the treble and the bass, and pretty just straightforward pop punk sound. When it comes to recording, we were going through the Kemper Profiler to get our tones on the more recent songs and album that we'll be releasing in the fall. So overall, kind of straight shooter when it comes to my sound, and found what I like.
Do you guys go in the studio or do you do your own sort of music production in terms of mixing and mastering?
We've been in the studio most recently. We'll knock out our own demos, get a rough take, on stuff. But when it comes down to getting stuff that we want to, have on streaming platforms for release and everything, yeah, we go to. We've been to two different people, but most recently we've been at Magnesium Studios in Orlando, knocking out our remainder of our album. So we actually have a session tomorrow. Should be our second last one. We'll end up doing rest of strings and knocking out vocals for the most part, and then should just have one more session of just kind of closing production on everything, getting everything where we want it, and then mix and master, and we should be wrap on our first album.
All right, sounds good. And Alex?
As far as music production goes, I mean, it's actually funny having me as part of the conversation because I feel like when it comes to production, I'm the least involved. Um, for everything we have so far, and probably what we're gonna have for the remainder of the album is we've just been doing MIDI drums lately, just to avoid the hassle of tracking live drums. I would love to track live drums, but as far as um, miking and making sure levels are all good, and I have an issue of playing takes the same way over and over and over again. I like to improv a little bit on my parts. Um, so we've found it to just be easier to MIDI our drum parts. That's it. But I mean, as far as live stuff goes, um, live I'm playing Gretsch Catalina 4-piece. I love that thing. It's my ride or die. I bought it probably in 2020 when Rykky and I were working together on stuff initially, and then once we went on hiatus, I kind of put her in the closet and never got to never got to bring her out to see the light of day. So now that we're playing shows and stuff, it's nice. She's got a nice sparkly kind of finish. Looks real good under the lights. So it's nice to actually bring it out and use it. And I got it for a steal, so might as well bring it out.
Nowadays, when he opens the closet, he'll find Tom Cruise and John Travolta in there. So you never know. All right. And Dakota?
So yeah, I like to keep it relatively simple. I feel like me and Rick have like almost identical rigs where we both go into the same amp and we both play Stratocasters with like really hot bridge pickups. So like for this band specifically, we keep it as simple as possible. You know, no effects, no like, no pedals or anything, just going straight into the amp and just, I usually use a rolling cube for my distortion tones and stuff, and I usually have with the way it sounds. And as far as recording and everything, we usually do our demos in Ableton. I'm usually the one that does a lot of the tracking for the demos themselves. And then when we record, in the studio and stuff, we either use Ableton or I believe we use Pro Tools with the most recent person we've been working with.
I'd say Pro Tools is a little bit of a step up, especially considering how expensive they can be too. And I've heard about Ableton, but
either way, Ableton and Pro Tools are both professional softwares that you can get a solid result from either, but just depends on which the person himself likes works in.
yeah, I've always heard that Ableton was more for like the hip hop and the rap sort of artists too. They always seem like designated.
That's probably think FL Studio. FL Studio is like explicitly like it's a really weird workflow that's like mainly really for rappers and stuff.
Actually, I have heard like Reaper was real good for like the rock and metal sort of guys too. That's the one that's been creeping up, to be honest. So
yeah, no, that's a good one because it's free, so like it's a good for people that are getting into it. They don't know what they're using. It's like $800 in Ableton. It's like let's use Reaper. It's free.
I'm gonna tell you about some Reaper. And Reaper,
let's hear it.
I don't know how much like DAWs you've worked with, some DAWs, but Reaper will make you want to destroy everything in your house along with the computer, because if one thing's off in Reaper, the whole thing won't work and you'll have to go through everything, and it's free for a reason. It's like it doesn't do anything for you like automatically. So I hate Reaper with a passion. I will go to a studio and spend thousands of dollars before I sit down with Reaper, because I've spent like 20 or 40 hours on Reaper just trying to get it to work in general. Like, I hate Reaper with a passion. When I downloaded Ableton, that's cake. Like, yeah, Reaper's like playing a guitar with the worst action in the world that constantly detunes itself and has the worst intonation you could imagine, so none of the frets line up. That's Reaper. I hate it. I am an advocate against Reaper, and I say pay $100 for the Ableton license. It's so much easier. Don't. The Reaper it's free for a reason, and that's sorry. That's all I'll say about Reaper. Yeah.
I think we had to call the cops and they had to restrain him in some sort of way whenever he had to go through all that. So But Alex, did you want to say something?
Yeah, I'm back on Reaper. Let's just go down this rabbit hole for a little bit. One of my last bands that I kind of was in during the hiatus of like I thought Rykky was moving to Miami, so I was like, all right, well, we're not going to be working on music together anymore. I'll join a different band. We made a 5-track EP using Reaper, and I want to say that was the most stressful and strenuous week of my life, trying to track 5 songs for an EP and taking a week to do it. It was torture. And thankfully we weren't using live drums, which I don't know if that helped or made the situation worse. But Reaper, going into it, I was always told it wasn't terrible, but then after that week of doing an EP, no, I'm never doing it again. I'm letting everyone else handle it. I'm not touching that. You guys got it. I don't.
I tortured my spirit as enough as it is, to say the least. That's actually the first time I heard like 2 people say like, anything negative about Reaper. Everyone's at least interviewed on this podcast who at least used it. I've always said like how good it is. So I mean, it's to each his own. So I guess good luck whatever you use them. So whatever floats your boat.
So if you buy any new piece of gear at all, you're going to spend about 10 hours trying to figure out how to get Reaper to even work with it, let alone any effects or anything, any sort of editing. It's strenuous, man. I hate it. I will use Pro Tools or Cubase or GarageBand, anything but Reaper. Yeah, I think they make it bad for a reason. So maybe you'll pay, and maybe the paid version is like better and does not so bad. But dude, I hate it. I'm sorry.
All right, fair enough. But at least got the vending out of the way here too. So we at least got to blow some steam off. So it's all good. All right. But go back to influences real quick. I know you all mentioned about Blink 182. I guess who else really inspired you in terms of, I guess, your play styles? So Jeremiah, you can go first.
I used to be a massive fan of the band Seosin. I really loved Cove and I really loved Circus Survive. My vocal style is nothing like that at all. But I love, that's what pushed me to practice a lot. There's a band I saw at Warped Tour called Scary Kids Scaring Kids. I had never heard of them before, and they put on such a good live show there, and they were crazy that I was like, dude, I want to do that. That was like when I was like 10 or 11 or whatever. And then there's a band called Taking Back Sunday. They're amazing. I don't know if you've heard of them. Saw them at Warped Tour also. That was a major influence. Then when I was growing up, I listened to a lot of Breaking Benjamin. That was that was awesome. Then I listened to, there's this dude named Ryan Tedder. Nobody in this band knows who that is, but he was a massive influence of mine. Then there's a dude named Dallas Green for the band Alexis is on Fire. I used to love that band. I used to work at a food truck with my brother, and we used to flip burgers and sell fries and all that. And we would be listening to that band. I used to have them on repeat. The Mayday Parade, man. They're from here. Their first 2 albums. That was pretty. I used to sing those a lot with my best friend in the car. We would turn the music way up, and we would just sing, regardless if you could sing it or not. That was pretty awesome. Then, yeah, like influence wise, Brian McKnight, he was pretty big for me. I used to practice a lot of his songs. That's why I do all the runs. Constantly get the runs all the time. Need to get that checked out. Yeah, but that's it for me. I used to listen to a ton of Blink and Boxcar Racer. Boxcar Racer was the shit. Then I used to really like Green Day. I kind of fell off that for a while. There's a band here I really like. They're called Macari. They're from Orlando. They're pretty awesome. Then of course Movements. They're amazing. Watched them probably. I met the dude probably 4 times just in lines. But yeah, man, that's it for me. I listen to a lot of music. I try to listen to new bands constantly, which in doing that you find a lot of bands you hate. So it's like, oh, I hate this band. I hate it. Why are you playing? But yeah, man, that's it for me.
Right. And I do know a lot about bands, but the problem is I never really got into like full album wise. It was mainly like their main hits, to say the least. Like Take It Back Sunday and Alexis on Fire. So I can see why.
Yeah, dude, I go through and listen to like just to hear what they have. Like if somebody's famous, and I know it's like me just talking, but I'll listen to like everything they have. Like one day I just listened to everything Kanye West has. A lot of it is fucking the worst music you'll ever hear in your life. Then like Madonna, also, you know. Then like Beyonce, listen to everything she has. Just to do it, it's like these people are famous. I want to listen to like what the hype is, you know. But I tortured myself through that. But I wouldn't
Oh, God,
recommend.
he listened to Taylor Swift.
Fuck no, no, not at all. I'm not gonna say anything bad, but I know, no, that the first album I was in a choir class in high school, and the teacher's daughter was part of that class, and she loved Taylor Swift. So all we did in that class was listen to Taylor Swift. We did not sing a note. We just listened to Taylor Swift, and they weren't Taylor Swift songs. They were covers of Taylor Swift songs. So it was not good. And yeah, man, you know, I know there's a lot of Swifties out there. I'm not trying to get hate, but yeah, I did not listen to any songs off the new 35 or 40 song album she just released. I don't know. I just nothing against it. It's just not my cake, and I love cake. You know, it's just not me.
Isn't it a cup of tea? But that's how it was always supposed to be.
Nah, man, I like all tea. I haven't met a tea I didn't like, but I've met a couple cakes I didn't like, so we'll use that analogy.
Fair enough. All right. And Rykky?
Influences for me are pretty diverse too. I grew up, parents listened to like a lot of classic rock, Zeppelin, Pink Floyd, Ozzy. Just a lot of the originals that I guess got me into music. But further down, once I guess I was finally of age to, kind of understand music, guitar, all that, I was listening to a mix of either like an industrial alternative metal at that point in time, or pop punk. So, kind of got a mix of both, I feel, in my playing style. I was in a lot of different hardcore tech metal bands, kind of '07 through 2010. So I felt like a lot of that even still stays with my influence of writing currently. Try to keep a lot of the nostalgia pop punk sound, but incorporate some of the heavier stuff that I've been into over the years too. In our specific genre, I stem a lot from like Sum 41. I feel like they're kind of like that nice mix of punk and a little bit of metal thrown in there, a little bit of the heavier side. Really into like A Day to Remember and some of the harder elements that they can kind of throw in and still keep it upbeat in a sense. Try to kind of keep everything written in like a major scale so it fits that positive vibe overall. But yeah, similar to what everybody's mentioned, Simple Plan, Sum 41, Newfound Glory, Blink, Green Day a bit. MGK's first album was okay, I guess. For the record, I guess I listened to a little bit of Taylor Swift, but that was only to try to find a good cover. Didn't work out too well. New album isn't very usable for pop punk songs.
Well, we know Ricky's going to get fired from Jeremiah pretty soon. So, so I can see that.
Yeah, doesn't fit his vocal style either.
No,
Uh,
I think we could. I don't know. We have to do something crazy to make that work out.
there's auto tune.
There's that. So fair enough. And as soon as you said Sub 41, I immediately thought of their music video. They empty out the pool. They have all the people around. They're doing In Too Deep.
Oh yeah, great song for sure.
Like it's the most punk thing you could do, man.
Pretty much, 100%. Other than the skate park, yeah.
All right, fair enough. And Alex?
All right, so my influences is where it's going to get very interesting. So I started drumming when I was like 11. I spent 7 of the last 12, 13 years playing drums as a jazz drummer. So I spent a lot of time grooving, hanging out in the pocket, just chilling on the backbeat, not being too loud or aggressive. So I had a lot of jazz influence, the great jazz drummers, Gene Krupa, Buddy Rich, stuff like that. But then when you also look at drummers of that era, like Rykky said, Zeppelin, I'm a huge John Bonham fan. You got Neil Peart. I love Rush. Rush is it's pretty high up there for me. But it's really just like, for me, when it comes to influences, it's weird. It's just like what drummers sit on my drumming Mount Rushmore, and then those are my influences. So it's like a lot of Beartooth. When I was in middle school and early high school, I got into Beartooth because of their drummer, Connor Dennis. Just seeing videos of him play on YouTube. He has so much like attack and aggression when he plays drums. Like he beats the crap out of the drums. And it kind of influenced me to want to do the same thing. But then I had a phase where I went through so much gear because I kept breaking stuff, so I stopped doing that. But pop punk wise, I think Rykky kind of covered it. It's a lot of Blink, Newfound Glory. I lean more into like the Fall Out Boy kind of. I kind of stray away from punk and go more towards pop. So I have the Fall Out Boy, the Yellow Card, the Panic at the Disco, that kind of weird poppy, but still like rock, early type of vibe. All Time Low is another great one for me. Nowadays, it's been a lot of state champs. It was a lot of A Day to Remember, but no hate to A Day to Remember. Their later stuff has been kind of pushing me away. Like Moths to Flames would be a good one. I don't know. I'm also kind of thinking about metalcore. I'm also big into metalcore, so I have bands like August Burns Red and Attila here and there. I do like Attila. But Crystal Lake's a good one. I'm trying to think of more, but I'm probably just rambling at this point. Yeah. It's really just what was the iconic stuff in the early 2000s. You have the scene stuff like Asking Alexandria, Old School, Bring Me the Horizon, August Burns Red, Pierce the Veil. That's anything that was the early 2000s is kind of it. I do have fond memories of sitting behind my drums and listening to entire Pierce the Veil albums and just playing for an hour straight, just playing through Pierce the Veil stuff. So yeah, pretty much it. I'm kind of done. I'm done rambling now.
Hey, you're good. I do agree with you with A Day to Remember there too. Their newer stuff after what separates me from you, that for me was kind of all downhill for them. Even I think they became too mainstream afterwards. Though the apex of their career is Homesick. You cannot convince me otherwise. No, I won't say that. But all good choices on the list there too. And Dakota?
Go ahead, Ax. Were you going to say something else? Or?
Yeah, sorry. Did you want to say something else?
Oh, I was just gonna say, About a Day to Remember. Yeah, Homesick for me was kind of like the apex. What was that other one? For those who
Comic.
have heart, yeah. For those who have heart, I think for me, I think I like For Those Who Have Heart better than Homesick, but I'm in the minority on that one.
Sadly, to say the least, there too. I think most people would say Homesick was their best. Even though I will give you credit. For Those Who Have Heart was a pretty good album too. So fair enough. Right. Just want to make sure I didn't want to say anything else, but okay, Dakota, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, not to like beat a dead horse or anything, but I think they kind of reiterated a lot of the band's Blink, New Found Glory, Sum 41, Fall Out Boy especially. I feel like the octave patterns they have in their guitar styles is just very reminiscent of like the kind of stuff that we try to do and whatnot. As far as personal influences, I've been always really been into like pop punk, like you've seen like the early 2000s pop punk. That's like the main whatever. And I've also been really into like reggae, like Sublime has been one of my favorite bands. Tampa's got a huge reggae scene, so there's like lots of shows going on for that. And I'd say as of recently, just the last couple of years, I probably get more and more into like the just hardcore punk, just faster, shorter songs, and just really aggressive playing styles.
Yeah, that's for sure. And I guess speaking of the music here too, I guess who mainly writes the lyrics and helps put it all together? You guys each like take turns trying to write it?
Well, let me tell you, all the voices in my head take turns writing it. But I mean, Rykky wrote our song Anxiety 100%. But yeah, I just like, write everything. Um, uh, yeah, it just, it is what it is. I'll leave for a week and then come back. It's like, hey, here's a song. I finished this one. And then they're like, how the fuck did you write this? I'm like, I don't know, man. I don't remember doing it. It's just done. I don't know. I go on a run and sometimes I'm like at work. I don't know. I'm just thinking of lyrics. Like I listen to a lot of other bands and I find that if it changes all the time, but if I'm listening to like sometimes just instrumental, and I'll be like, oh man, that's a cool line. And somehow I end up back with our music and I'll be like, oh, dude, this fits perfect. Like, all right. Uh, Generally, I do a lot of writing, so I don't like to recycle lyrics at all. I like to come up with new things constantly. But I think on the next album, I'm gonna try and be like, hey, let's all just write in a room. Like we can't leave or eat or go to the bathroom until the song's done. You know, that's no, I wouldn't do that. But uh, yeah, I don't know, man. I just sometimes I'm just like Rick wanted me to write our last single about like kind of influenced by what was it called? Not Daisy. The girl, the
Alice in Wonderland.
yes, Alice. I could not think of that to save my life. Yeah. So I used a lot of those influences for that song. And honestly, I probably worked 40 or 50 hours on that song. And uh, it came out really good, I think. I thought that was, I like getting like ideas and working with stuff like that. I worked in another band where it was like, hey, I want you to write a song, this song, with this instrumental about my cat at my house, one you've never met. I'm not going to tell you anything about the cat, but I want you to write a song about it. And that was really fucking hard. Like that was like I like it didn't work out. But yeah, with
It
this
took some
band,
time.
yeah, dude. It is what it is. They have another vocalist that had written a lot of lyrics, and I don't like using other people's stuff. So yeah, I just wrote completely new lyrics and didn't use his at all, which not gonna say anything. I mean, I think he's probably a cool dude. I don't know. He has a food truck now. It's pretty successful, but Yeah, I don't know, man. If you guys ever want to throw out any lyrics or anything for stuff, I mean,
I'm seeing Rykky shaking his head. I don't know. I
If
guess
it's
Rykky, do you want to say something or?
I was just disagreeing that other guy is not a cool dude. But yeah, no, pretty much gave Jeremiah a clean slate to kind of come in and use all of the material that we had already written out as far as full songs as like a template. Just pretty much here, man. Write what you want. You are the vocalist, so you should kind of have meaning behind what you're saying. And I felt like that was the best way to do it. Was here you go. You got a clean template. I'd imagine most vocalists would want that coming into a band where it's just I can throw down my ideas and have that range. Um, I'll have lyrical inspiration every once in a while of just some catchy hook or something that I feel like I can kind of make work. But I definitely try to stick to the instrumental writing more so and let you kind of take liberty on that as far as what the song's about. I might have an idea, kind of like the Alice in Wonderland one, to kind of throw out there and more theme, or just a general sense. But for the most part, the words definitely come from Jeremiah so far as everything that we've got currently coming out on the album.
I guess, Jeremiah, I guess, what do you normally do with your, what sort of topics do you kind of get into with your lyrics? Yeah, because it seems like you kind of were doing like a Tony Hawk skate promo and then something with Lucky Strike.
Oh man, so I would say all of the lyrics have nothing at all to do with. I mean, Tony Hawk. So that song's about a friend, my best friend growing up, who just like got in with like the wrong crowd. Man, he's doing really well now, but like for a long time, he was just like, yeah, he's starting to do things I wasn't interested in doing. Like drugs and just drinking every day, and like a lot of the people he was hanging out with were just like the worst, and so you couldn't tell him that. So I like had to cut him out of my life. It was really hard.
Let me mute your mic real quick. Sorry.
Or,
Okay. Keep going.
and then I mean, it kind of had to do with the Tony Hawk Pro Skater because we were always skating, and like we always played that game or like skate. That was an awesome game we always played, and we just honestly played a lot of video games. So that was like just the whole soundtrack off that album. It was kind of like that. The naming that song that is reminiscent of the times that we had, and just like kind of us growing apart, and that's really what the song's about. And then a lucky strike a day keeps the doctor away, dude. The name of that. Okay, Rykky had Lucky Strike cigarette packs all the time, and I saw one sitting on the counter. And I'm like, Lucky Strike a day keeps the doctor away. And I'm like, oh, let's name a song that. But that song's about a girl that one day I was she'd be super into me, and then the next day it's like I was talking to a completely different person, and you have a full blown conversation with somebody about things, and then the next day it'd be a clean slate, like you hanging out with them all the time, and like them like being all about you, and you guys like doing things together, and then the next day it's like none of that really happened, and it's like that's what that song's about, and it's like yeah, like yeah, it was crazy. I still know her. And it's like none of that ever happened. It's like what? But yeah, then we have another song we're coming out with that's called No One Expects to Eat 9 Cans of Ravioli. Dude, the lyrics, once we release it, they encapsulate everything that song's about. But it's just, like situations in my life. That's what I write about, like the feelings, like how I felt then. That's what I write about. I don't think there's any song I've ever really written. Sometimes I'll write like themed songs about like Like, it's not me I'm writing about. It's like it's like as if I was playing a person. But generally, I just write about things I've gone through, how I felt going through that, like the people in my life that I might not be with anymore and how I feel about it. That's what I write about, and I don't think there's anything better to write about, that's it.
Fair enough. Actually, I was going to say lightning does not strike twice. That's probably how it probably should have went, to be honest. So I can see why. And I guess, do you guys, and I guess whoever wants to jump in and talk about this, you got any new material coming out soon? I think I heard you got a new single. I guess you're doing an album soon. It's going to be a lucky one. Let's start playing this a bet. Who's going to be a lucky one?
I'll jump on it.
All right.
Yeah, we've been gradually trying to drop our singles, kind of have like release dates around them where we can do a music video, visual content, and stretch it out a little bit. So we have another at least 2 to 3 singles that we'll come out with over the next probably 2-3 months. Then have album release, most likely. I think we're probably planning in September, October, somewhere in that range as of now. The next one that we'll come out with is called Way She Goes, and then one after that.
Do it for Dale.
Do it for Dale as well, yes, since we're in Florida. And then Anxiety, which, probably the only song we have named that actually goes with the lyrics. Everything else is, kind of a mystery between name and what the actual song is about. But, kind of what our timeline right now is as far as music. We've got a 10-song album that we'll be coming out with by approximately Halloween.
All right, sounds good. If you guys do want to share any music, I can play it on my McGrib show as well. I've mainly do it on YouTube, so feel free to send it through my email. I can give it to you afterwards if you want.
Awesome. Yeah, I'll definitely give you a sneak peek of something that we haven't released yet if you want to have like a first time play on it. And then the songs we currently have that are out now, they're pretty much on all streaming platforms as well, but definitely can send them over to you.
All right, sounds good. All right. For the next question right here, we haven't heard from Dakota in a while, so he can start with this one. So I guess, Dakota, what challenges do you face these days being a musician?
I'd say right now our biggest thing is like now that we actually have it's been so long trying to get like a decent product out there. So now that we have like something to promote, I think our biggest thing is like just trying to break into a local scene, trying to network with people, and trying to establish those just relationships with people to where you can get in the loop and be constantly invited on the shows and stuff. And we're slowly starting to break into the scene and getting messages with those people. I think it's a very gradual thing. It's not something that's going to happen like overnight.
Yeah, I can see why. So looks like Rykky and Jeremiah went away. So I guess Alex, wing it as long as you can, I guess, or try to think of something new.
I'm not sure where they went to.
We'll see what happens, but
I say, as far as challenges go, I think Dakota kind of covered it. Just, I feel like, you spend so much time working towards an end goal, and you're like, all right, I want to put this together, I want to put this together, and I want to have all the pieces in the right places. And then you have the pieces in the right place, and it's like, all right, now what are you going to do with it? It's like, it's all about, us getting out there and networking and stuff like that. Go to shows every once in a while and accidentally leave a stack of stickers on the bar, or, just hand them out to people, or I'll even I make the buttons for our band. We have like pins and buttons and stuff. I'll bring those to shows and just hand them out to people, all different like designs and stuff like that. But as far as challenges for me on a personal level, I say, for someone who's been a musician for as long as me, it's weird to say that like I tend to lack confidence sometimes. Like I feel like that's kind of why I play drums, is I'm like kind of sitting back behind everybody, like no one kind of sees me as much as they see the other dudes. And I think that, I don't know, I feel like me being on social media doesn't help. I follow all these other drummers on Instagram, and I see them traveling and touring and playing huge festivals and stuff like that. And I'm like, man, I want to do that, but am I ever gonna do that? Plus, a lot of my drumming idols that I looked up to just had so much more technical ability than I do. So it's like I want to be that, but am I gonna be that? That's just my main issue is lacking confidence. I have horrible self-esteem.
You're meant to be drummers. We're meant to hit things legally, and that helps build our self-esteem. So I can see why they too. But I guess Rykky.
Yeah, challenges, I guess, currently in music would be, I feel like it's definitely a little more difficult to break into the scene than it used to be, especially with how much social media is out here these days. I feel like, it should be easier in some regards, but I feel like I've gotten further in the past, before all of social media and, the new way of doing things compared to how venues used to go about it. I felt like there's maybe a little bit more room for you to showcase as far as the local band, be able to get there, as far as on some of the same bills as major acts just by hustle and ticket sales and getting out there and playing as much as you possibly could. It's easier to reach a broader audience. The same time, there's also just a lot of trash music that's out there. A lot of main, I guess, genres these days, like rap is oversaturated and it's just all pretty damn terrible. Or it's country, or it's this or that. So, finding, our sound, our niche, and then, who our fan base will be to be able to play out to. Could be a little bit easier, I'd say. Same time, I feel like for this area, it's definitely kind of on the up and coming again as far as the pop punk scene between here, Lakeland, Orlando, similar cities around. I feel like there's a rejuvenated sense of pop punk, easycore, whatever category we can kind of be tossed into, and there's a lot of bands that are starting to come back out and kind of just coming back around like a lot of styles do. I don't think it'll ever be as hard hitting as it was in the 2000s, the skate punk era. Same time, I feel like there's still a lot of people that enjoy these styles of music and will go out and attend local events and. I feel like it's, all based on determination. What I probably don't lack on stage is any confidence. I'm spinning in circles and, going as hard as I possibly can. So I feel like I was always meant for the stage. That aspect, is something that I always just want to achieve again, is being able to be on tours and be, on the road doing gigs and playing in front of people that, just connect with you through your music. Really no greater accomplishment I've ever had in life than that.
Yeah, that's for sure too. I guess Jeremiah could try to top what Rykky did because we got a hell of a nice speech out of that too. And it seems like he's driving away off into the sunset. So where are you going, Jeremiah?
No, I'm not driving. I'm on an airplane. So I would say, man, like it kind of sucks that I would say just society in general. I think they're moving away from like having kids learn instruments and like actually taking music classes because it's expensive, and they're kind of cutting that out of school. So like parents have to like do extracurricular things to like send their kids to like teachers. Like they have to do all this extra stuff and spend money outside of school. And I feel like as they're cutting programs more and more for like the lower middle class and the lower class in general that rely on these things just for like learning music, I think that has a big part to play in the fact that we just have people going like just trying to be rappers or just going to those shows because that's kind of what it doesn't take any like I don't want to say that it doesn't take technical ability, but in terms of like they're not playing an instrument, they're just like if anything hitting a couple keys on a keyboard and making songs. But it's like when you're sitting and you're playing guitar for hours and hours and your fingers hurt and you're just like, why can't I get this part? How come I can't do this? Like, and then you finally get it and there's that high that's like, awesome. I finally like learn this thing, and you can like take pride that, it's like Alex with drums, man. Like he's a really good drummer, And it's like, how many, he's been playing for years and years. Like, I can't play drums at all. I suck. Like, I've tried, I'll be like 1 and 2 and 3. Like, I can keep time, but I can't play drums to save my life. Like, your foot and both your hands, all I have to do is one note out of my voice. Like, I'm not hitting chords with my voice, it's easy. But, yeah, man, I just feel like it's kind of sad, and I hope it gets better where people take more interest in music, because I feel like that plays into better bands. People get more interest in seeing the intricate things bands come up with. It's like, we're kind of like an easy core band, but a lot of our stuff is pretty cool, I think. Not just because I write it, but yeah, I don't know, man. Like, I feel like I'm gonna have to say whatever Rykky said. He usually has a pretty good voice and things.
He's been saying, I don't know, man. I mean, we're going to have to put that on a shirt here pretty soon. So, I mean, we also have to keep a count too. Maybe like a little counter down at the bottom of the interview here, whenever we're editing this. So, it's all good. Nope, I don't think he's too thrilled about that. So, but it's all good. You're good, Jeremiah. It's all good. I'm just messing with you. All right. But I guess we're going to let him drive a little bit here too, because I don't want him taking his eyes off the road here too. So, Dakota, here, you can go with the next one. So, first off, what social media are you guys on? And I guess what advice would you give to musicians who are on social media and in your neck of the woods?
Well, as far as advice, I'm not sure if we have much, given the fact that we're just starting on social media and stuff. But our Instagram is anxiety.attackfl, and we just started promoting that. Just started promoting the YouTube, the Spotify, and yeah, I know you just said any advice, but yeah, if anything, we're in the position where we need advice from other people on how to do it, because we literally just started like hitting hard on the social media stuff, and that's definitely a big aspect of trying to be a band these days, and we can't ignore it forever,
I guess, does everybody have a role in social media, or does one of you guys just handle the social media side?
Kind of all over the place right now. I'd say it's just anybody who wants to post something, post something, and definitely needs to be a little bit more organized, but right now it's at least somewhat working.
All right, sounds good. I guess, Alex, what advice would you give to musicians on social media and your neck of the woods?
As far as advice goes, I think Dakota kind of covered it. As far as like social media as a whole band goes, this is my first time really being in a band that had social media as part of our networking. Some of my last bands didn't even make it that long that social media was ever a thought that crossed our minds. But I feel like as far as like musicians on social media, like individually, like me in middle school growing up and stuff like that, like being on social media, I don't know. I try to stay off it, honestly. My girlfriend kind of makes fun of me and says I'm an old man because she'll talk about some TikTok trend, and I'm like, "What are you talking about? I have no idea what's going on right now." Um, but I don't know. I think it ties back into my like challenges that I faced was just seeing other talented musicians on social media and then comparing myself to them and being like, why am I not as good as this person? Or, man, I wish I practiced more so I could be better because this person is clearly more skilled than I am. I feel like that's a really negative mindset to have. So I feel like for musicians individually, being on a platform where you see other people's content, I feel like you can take their content and like not take it to heart and feel like negatively about yourself because of it, kind of take it and grow from it. I have so many people that I follow on like Instagram and stuff like that that have actually taught me stuff because they'll post videos of them doing like little snippets of like a guitar video where they have the tabs in the video, and I'll learn little like guitar licks here and there, or drummers who will have like cool little drum licks or drum fills that they put in their videos, and then they'll have the drum sheet music in the video at the bottom. You learn little things here and there, but I feel like comparing yourself to someone because you see it on social media is really negative. So I feel like that's just like the piece of advice I have.
I was getting ready to be like, Jesus, you're old. So that's all good there too, mate. So thank you so much for sharing. All right. And Rykky?
Alex is actually the youngest one of all of us. So, if anything, you should be hip on the TikTok. Nonetheless, my advice, I guess, to musicians in general would just be keep practicing. I spent years just sucking, before I felt like I was a good songwriter, before I could hang with some of my other friends. I definitely had gotten lucky, I felt, at a younger age, and had a lot of friends that were exceptional musicians, and I could just kind of hang around with them and pick their brain and, pretty much help utilize that in becoming better. I tried playing drums about the same time that I started playing guitar, and I just flew past drums. If anything, now I feel like I'm finally, maybe like 15 plus years later, an okay drummer. But yeah, that's just from practice and being around other musicians and bands and kind of just taking what I can and utilizing it, from just from friends or people that influenced me that I'd be around. Anybody that is trying to do music seriously, once you do finally have your audio, your sound where you want it, then I feel like it's the real business end starts on everything, where you have to have every aspect pretty much looking professional these days to kind of have a chance and to stand out. The video content, booking shows, well done quality audio recordings, just really everything, merchandise. It has to be every category. I feel where you have to be out there and keeping pretty consistent with it, and feel like the bundle of everything is kind of what starts to push you over the top. So it's fun, it's awesome, but it's also a business, and you kind of have to look at it that way.
Yeah, that's for sure. That's kind of the bad thing too. You don't want to take it as a business, but then it's almost like you have to. It's like
kind of have to if you wanted to get anywhere. Same time, keeping a nice middle ground where like can't wait to go play shows. That's what we're all in this for, is get on stage, have fun, get our music out there. But in order to do that, there is some of the business stuff that you have to take serious to a point, but still make sure that you're having a good time while doing it.
yeah, that's for sure. So I did have to ask, if you were to start an OnlyFans page, who would be the unfortunate victim?
If I were to start an OnlyFans page,
Well, actually, out of all you guys here, so I think Alex volunteered, so I think he would like to do
I
it.
think so. I've already done one, so Alex, your turn.
All right. And hopefully I didn't lose Jeremiah right there. I guess you still there?
He might have froze.
I think so. He was pulled in somewhere. I thought he was getting like fast food or something.
See updates.
I can hear you.
He's getting in the garage. Oh no.
Oh yeah, I'm going through a garage.
I guess
But yeah, originally OnlyFans was created for bands to use, not for girls. So like we could make an OnlyFans. It would be I think it would do good. It would be good.
I guess, so what would be your advice to musicians and I guess other people on social media in your neck of the woods, if he's able to, I want to make sure he doesn't hit anybody. That's it.
No, I'm actually really good at driving. It's other people that suck. I would say, man, on social media, just go at it with love. Don't talk shit. Don't start things with other bands. Don't hate. Just go on there and be positive. Because I've been in a lot of bands that like to talk shit to other bands or other people or fans or whatever, and nothing good ever comes from that, ever. And you just have to think positive. Like who people are on the internet isn't who they are in real life. So I would say that's it, man. Like just be positive.
He keeps frozen right there, so unfortunately the connection must not be the greatest. But I assume he's done. So sorry, Jeremiah, if we interrupted you in your speech right there. But we'll see what happens. He can save it for later. We'll come back to a similar question to it later on here too.
Gotta be positive.
Be positive. Yeah. All right. But here, we'll jump into the fun ones right now. And here, Dakota, you can go first. So I guess, Dakota, what would you say is your favorite food?
Just I'm not too much of an eater, honestly. I just eat like steak and rice. It's probably my favorite food. I know Ricky's laughing at me because literally every time we hang out, that's the meal I eat every fucking time. So yeah,
Just give him a bowl of ramen.
I'm sure
Very nice. Yeah.
Jeremiah is frozen, but he's the one who will be talking about food nonstop.
Well, that'll make for an interesting one when we get back to him. So we'll see what happens. But Alex?
As far as food goes, God, I feel like Rykky can probably guess this for me, but it's gonna probably be pizza. I love pizza. I can eat pizza all day long. Actually, once we get off this call, I have leftover pizza in the fridge that I'm probably gonna go eat. Although there's an ongoing joke in the band that I love to eat Taco Bell because I showed up to practice one day and brought Taco Bell with me, and I dropped my taco and I got really upset about it. But yeah, probably pizza would just be my favorite. It's my go-to. Specifically barbecue chicken pizza. Yeah.
There is such thing as a taco pizza. So, I mean, you're not alone in that regard. So you can probably make it work. Yeah. And Rykky?
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen you eat anything but pizza or a Monster Energy drink, Alex. That's probably what your diet consumes of. I live the starving artist life, so any food is good food. I'm not really too picky, so yeah, I'll eat pretty much anything. If I had to pick something, surf and turf can't really get better than that. I'll take lobster and steak.
That's a good choice, yeah. I actually work a second job, and I actually work at a restaurant, and we actually did do a surf and turf. Instead of lobster, it was actually crab cakes.
Any fish with some steak sounds pretty good to me.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Actually,
especially down here in Florida. Yeah, we got the good end of at least seafood.
If you're looking for seafood, it's all around you. So, I mean, you
Pretty
can't go
much.
wrong.
Yeah, we're literally all around.
Right. So, I don't know, Jeremiah, how good the connection is or what he's doing here, but it looks like he's kind of doing like a Grey's Anatomy episode at this point. So
He's working his way into work.
I was waiting for it to catch Wi-Fi. My Wi-Fi here is pretty good, but in the garage it sucks. I would say in terms of food, man, I eat like anything. If it doesn't have eyes, and it's not alive. But I do really like sushi. Sushi is the shit. Man, I would say I love steak. I eat steak like a couple times a week. I did just eat Five Guys before this interview, and that's like a guilty pleasure. I love pizza, man. Cake, cookies. Dude, I'm like a garbage disposal, honestly. Yeah, that's the best way to put it.
you and me both. Trust me, I'm a garbage disposal as well. So,
Dude, put it in front of me, man. With some like garlic, I'll eat it, dude. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what it is.
I don't know about garlic though. I do like garlic Parmesan wings, but it depends on what the food is. So we'll see what happens. So, all right.
Are you a vampire?
No, it's just some of those. It has to go with the food, man. It just can't just be. Just throw some garlic on a cake, for instance, too, and then let it go. So
No. Cake, cookies, ice cream, garlic goes on anything. Anything. Just like chocolate goes on anything. Man, you could put chocolate on some steak. It's pretty solid.
I'd say debatable, but all right. I'm not gonna argue.
Yeah, I would try you.
So
I'll put chocolate on pizza. I don't care.
it'd be a cookie cake pizza. Let's say it that way. So okay, fair enough. All right, Dakota, for the next one right here, what would you say is your favorite movie?
Definitely, I'd say overall, I've always been a big fan of like the Star Wars, series and stuff. I think everybody in the band, except for maybe I don't know about Alex, but I know Rick and Jay are pretty big into Star Wars and stuff. We kind of talk about it every now and then. It's just a big, there's a lot of different aspects to it, so you can kind of talk about it for hours without running out of stuff.
which case we'd be here all day just trying to talk about Star Wars. So, but I gotta say the original trilogy, it definitely still has its appeal 50 some years later when you think about it. So yeah.
Yeah.
But, Alex?
It's actually perfect that Dakota brought up Star Wars and mentioned me specifically, because I wrote some of my answers down beforehand. And I have two answers, and I said my nerdy answer is Star Wars Episode 3: Revenge of the Sith, purely just because of that last lightsaber duel between Anakin and Obi-Wan. My brother and I, growing up, him and I, we used to quote all of the dialogue throughout that entire 8-minute lightsaber duel. So that movie was definitely up there. But I said my non-nerdy answer. I'm big into horror movies, so I said Terrifier. I love Terrifier. I'm also big into gory horror movies, so that movie had plenty of blood and guts to spare. So that one kind of won me over on that. Yeah. Actually, I'm on my phone. My phone's about to die. I'm gonna try to switch over to my laptop and see if that works, because my phone is about to die.
All right. I guess while he's doing that in the meantime, I guess Rykky, you go ahead.
Yeah, similar. Big on Star Wars for sure. I probably have to go Revenge of the Sith also being my favorite.
That's my
Similar
guy.
lightsaber battle, and yeah, just overall seeing the accumulation of all 6 movies finally kind of take place. See Vader turn into himself, and the whole storyline completed was something I waited for since I was a kid. I guess my other non-nerdy answer would be like Goodfellas. Always was big into like mafia movies, and yeah, can't go wrong with De Niro, Pesci, Leota. So yeah, I'd say those would be at the top of my list.
Yeah, that's all good. It's good choices too.
I want to say real quick, you can really tell our age by the fact that Revenge of the Sith is all of our favorite Star Wars movie.
At least from your nerdy side, yeah, I can see why. And actually, I was the same way, but I grew up in the '90s, and I had the original trilogy on VHS, which I used to watch like crazy. And then you hear the prequels coming out. It's like, oh man, it's all good. You just see the first one. I mean, I didn't judge. I mean, I liked it nonetheless. It was the same way when the sequels came out. And Alex and Rykky, can you mute your mics? And then Jeremiah, you can go ahead.
I would have to say, man,
There you go.
we're gonna have to lean into Empire Strikes Back, dude. That was so when I was growing up, I remember watching the original trilogy, and you watch the first one, and nobody tells you what's gonna happen, though it happened like 20 years before. And Empire Strikes Back, you don't expect Darth Vader to like be the dad, and Luke, they kind of lose, they lose, and then it sets up number 3 when they come back, and Return of the Jedi, dude, it's a classic movie. But I honestly, I remember when Phantom Menace came out, and that was the bee's knees, man. Love that movie. I've seen it probably realistically, like 30, 40 times. And it's just creative, Jar Jar Binks, best character in the whole Star Wars universe. There's no better character. Yoda's all right. Mace Windu, he's okay, but dude, you gotta love some Jar Jar. He's honestly my biggest influence in music. I'd say he's the GOAT.
I'm just waiting for it to say, "We are going home." So yeah. Actually, I think you're the only one that's really kind of like not bashed like Jar Jar, because I was literally seeing a post on Facebook the other day, and unfortunately the actor who had played Jar Jar or voiced him, whatever, he really took a lot of criticism and a lot of hate mail. So I mean, it was bad. I think he was even close to falling over the edge, if you know what I mean. So I mean, it's sad to say.
He played another character. He played like a Jedi in one of the newer episodes. It was like a 5-minute scene, but like they went out of their way to make him as badass as possible to like make up for everything else.
I guess it makes up for him not being a Sith, as I think people kept theorizing for some reason. So I don't know. It's weird, but good choices nonetheless here too. So good to see we got some Star Wars fans here. So, but Dakota here for the next one. I guess I don't know if you drink yet. So if you guys want to mention what's your favorite alcoholic drink and non-alcoholic drink, go ahead.
Once again, funny you ask me. I, despite being 25, I've never drinking alcohol. I only drink water. We're much more of a weed band than a alcohol band, I guess. Well, at least me. The rest of them maybe, but no, like people are always surprised. Like I've never once drinking alcohol. I don't know. I don't really need to.
You listen to his doctor. That's a thing too. So but I can see why too. The reason I do ask, I have interviewed some people who've gone through dark periods in their life with alcohol. So that's why I want to ask you. But Alex, go ahead.
All right. So as far as like my favorite like non-alcoholic drink, it's funny for me to say it, but racetrack, the gas station, they come in clutch because they have this Hawaiian punch, like fruit punch flavored slushy, and that's my go-to. I swear, every time I get gas, like the last couple weeks at band practice, like there's a racetrack on my way, I get gas, and I'm like, all right, while I'm here, I'm gonna get my slushy, and it's gonna be a good day. But then I guess as far as like favorite alcoholic drink goes, I don't know, anything fruity, basically, like me. Rum punch, Bahama Mamas. But if I don't want that, I either go with like a vodka Red Bull or like just a beer, Bud Light, Coors. I'm really simple.
I'll say he doesn't listen to the people who bashed Bud Light for having that transgender person do the voiceover. So it's kind of ridiculous too when you think about it. So I can see why. Right, and Rykky.
Yeah, I definitely drink. In Russia, don't drink vodka. Vodka drink you. So probably would be my go-to. Other than that, Corona. So that'd be my liquor and beer. Regular drinks, like Mountain Dew or something fruity like Alex.
I'll say Rykky came in a little hungover from last night, I guess, or whatever he was doing on Saturday night. So
More than
Yeah.
a couple Coronas for sure. It was a fun night.
Yeah, just a few.
just a few. So,
Yeah, somewhere around there.
I don't know about that, but gonna say you got home safe, so it's all good. That's all that matters.
Did, yes. My DD down there.
That's good. Yeah, you got a brother and watch. That's for sure. So that's good.
Uh-huh.
Jeremiah.
So drinking wise, since I'm a bartender, I have to try like a million drinks to know what it tastes like. I don't really do sugary drinks. I love eating sweets, but I can't drink them at all, especially with alcohol. I get real sick. So I just do whiskey, man. Recently I started doing some dark tequila. That's pretty cool, less of a hangover, less sugar. I just do it on the rocks, man, with some water just to space out the drinks, man. I done my share of drinking. Besides alcohol, though, it doesn't, it is what it is. But I drink a lot of coffee. Not so much for the taste, but for the caffeine in it and the drugs, to wake me up. But I drink a lot of water. Yeah, so the three things I only drink is water, coffee, and usually whiskey. Yeah, not too diverse. I have to make a million different drinks at my job, but I try every single one, so I don't really drink that often, but I do drink every single day of my life. Yeah, it is what it is. Yeah, nothing beats a good cold. I really like beer too. A good cold like Dos Equis or Modelo. But yeah, beer kind of makes me feel super full, so I just stick to simple things. I don't really drink sugar; it gives me a headache. So yeah, just black coffee, man. That's where it's at.
Gets a sugar rush to the head, so I can see why. But when he's talking about bartending too, I was thinking like, is he kind of going to a government institution right here, especially when he's going through the garage and everything? So
No, I work at a resort, so it's like it's summer, so it's like the busy season. But it's it's pretty large. It's like a fucking maze. I'm actually lost right now. I'm on the second floor. It's 7 floors. I was like, oh, I'm gonna go to this stairwell, and then I'll get pretty good Wi-Fi over there. But honestly, I was like, I get good Wi-Fi right here, so I was just gonna hang out in this hallway that's completely empty, like the back rooms. I work in the back rooms essentially, and people tend to drink a lot in the back rooms because they're fucking lost. So, yeah. I wish it was a government institution. That'd be interesting, be a government agent.
he works for the CIA at this point here too. So okay, it's all good then, man. You're good. So. And Dakota, for the last of the fun questions right here, I guess. So, what would you say is currently your favorite song, or a song you've been listening to a good bit recently?
In general, I've been listening. The Story so far just put out a new record. I think All This Time is like the lead single off that. That's probably my highest, like the most on repeat song I have. Just in general, like the new Story so far record. I've been waiting 6 years for it to come out, so finally, when it's out, and I'm just having it on repeat.
All right, and Alex.
So a song that I've been listening to a lot lately is actually a song that we wrote called Knives. I can't wait till we put that out because I enjoy the way it sounds. I enjoy playing it. But as far as like my favorite song goes, I was writing down my answers and I wrote the song Chelsea Dagger. Because I'm a big Tampa sports fan. I like soccer. I go to a lot of Tampa Bay Rowdies games, and Chelsea Dagger is our goal song. So it's one of those things where it's like when you hear it, good things are happening. So it's kind of like I enjoy hearing it for that reason. But another thing I've been listening to a lot lately is Beartooth's latest record, The Surface. But that's just because the way Caleb Shomo writes lyrics, he writes so openly, like he puts everything out there, everything that's ever happened to him in his life. You can read about it by reading through Beartooth's discography. So there's some songs on there that kind of speak to me just through like me battling like mental health issues and stuff like that, and then hearing Caleb write these lyrics about him going through the exact same stuff and talking about how he kind of turned his life around and stuff like that. It's kind of therapeutic and it's kind of nice to be like, hey, I'm glad you're doing good, buddy. I'm also doing good. But yeah,
It's all good in Florida, that's for sure too. So anyway, all right, Rykky.
I'll go through like waves of listen to different genres, different styles, maybe some ADD, and just play the same song when I find something, on repeat for the next 3 days. Most recently, I'd say Knock Loose, as far as their whole new album, but Suffocate in particular has been kind of stuck in my head for about a solid month.
I actually remember when Blinding Light came out for them, and I think it was actually when he started really getting more experimenting with like the lower growls, because I know he was always that high pitched scream. So.
Yeah, he's definitely kind of diversified a little bit in his vocal tone recently. They didn't do bad with that and Poppy into the, a few of their features as well. So yeah, overall, probably just new Knocked Loose is what I've been stuck on recently.
All right, good choice. And finally, Jeremiah, to close it out.
I fluctuate between like sometimes I listen to like just instrumental or I'll listen to like acoustic music or like I'll go back and listen to like Mice and Men, like their second album. That's just like always a go-to. Or I'll listen to like something easy, like Dayseeker, amazing. Like I get stuck on albums. Like I'll listen to albums for like weeks and weeks and weeks. Like that last, man, I was stuck on it for months. That last I See Stars album, I was stuck on it. I was like, dude, why is this so good? But yeah, man, I don't know. It's like I fluctuate. Like I was listening to Sleep Token pretty religiously for like a good couple months. I fell off then. But man, their song like Jaws or yeah, it's just they, I wouldn't really call them a metal band, but they're pretty awesome. Chon, phenomenal. One of my favorite bands is called Strawberry Girls. Ben Rosette, that guy writes awesome music. Just tickles the ears, makes you feel good inside. But yeah, man, I listen to a lot of different things. Sometimes I just listen to some lo-fi. Yeah, that's it. Just lo-fi, relaxing. Yeah.
I do remember how he actually got the name too. I think it was the song "Head Up" by the Deftones, and he was actually featured in that song. And I think it was during the chorus too. After Chino does his line, you just hear "Soulfly." So I can see why. But good choices. So great choices nonetheless. So Jeremiah, Rykky, Alex, and Dakota, we're nearing the end of my podcast right here. We have one more question left. Here's how it works, too. If you guys do have any questions for me, raise your hand. Otherwise, give me a thumbs up, and we'll jump right into it. Thumbs up, thumbs up. All right, you guys' question. What kind of question do you have, Jeremiah?
Hey, man. Are you a banana or an oranges kind of guy? What's going on?
Banana. It has potassium, and it helps with the whole muscles afterwards after a good workout. So I'll take a banana.
It's just so easy to like get it out of the peel, whereas like an orange, you gotta like it's a bunch of extra steps, They're both good though.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I prefer to have the easy way than the hard way. So I mean, I want to eat my food. I don't want to happen to struggle with it. I mean, I had to peel shrimp before, and that was kind of a fucking mess just trying to do that in Italy. So trust me. So, do you have anything else, Jeremiah?
No, man, dude, you're gold in my book. I've met a lot of Brians in my life, but you're probably the best one. I don't know. I think I'm in love with you.
Oh man, he's making me blush. So that's all good here too. So actually, speaking of, since you gave me the compliment, you can go first on this one here too. So here's how the last question goes. So given what COVID has done, obviously you guys had a little bit rockiness here and there too, but it seems like you guys came out better and stronger. But for those musicians and people out there who've been rocked by COVID or anything else in their lives, what sort of message of hope could you give to musicians and people out there as we try to move forward in the post-COVID world? And we'll start with Jeremiah.
I would say, man, you only got one chance. Like you just have to go out there. It's like if you sit still and you're feeling down, just get moving. Like that's it. You just have to keep moving and keep doing things. Sometimes life will slap you right in the face, man, and it just keep slapping you and keep pushing you down. But you just have to like pick yourself up and just believe that it's gonna get better. And that's just having hope. That's it. You just have to have hope and just move forward. Like you can't go back, you can't go sideways. You just have to go forward with everything.
All right, and Rykky, sorry, hit my mic by accident.
Yeah, pretty similar. I'd say, just kind of keep trucking along. There'll always be, people out there that I feel like will gain something from music or, will be able to connect with what you're putting out there. You only live one life. And, if you want to do anything in it, you just got to put your mind to it and just kind of make it happen, manifest it, and don't take no for an answer.
All right, and Alex?
I would say, I don't know, COVID was a weird kind of point in my life, where, all right, my dog opened the door and ran in. But yeah, COVID was a weird part of my life because my family has a bad medical history, so COVID was kind of devastating for us. I lost, a couple people within several months. It was a weird kind of depressing time, but I was always told that, the moment you're in sucks, but come tomorrow, that moment's gone. It was just kind of like, life goes on. Like there's moments here and there that are rough, but it's just, you got to keep pushing, It kind of ties back into my struggles with mental health. It's just, you just keep moving forward. Just keep going and going and going and going. And when you feel like you don't want to go anymore, you go a little bit more, But, yeah.
All right, and Dakota to close it out.
Yeah, so I mean, basically just more or less the same thing as they were saying. Just like, obviously during COVID, all these shows were canceled. It just seemed like they're being pushed back more and more and more. We never really knew at the time, like, is this ever going to end? And I feel like looking back, it's kind of important to know that, like, yeah, things are always going to be temporary. You're always going to go through whatever, but overall, time will pass and eventually things get more or less back to normal,
All right, and spoke like a bunch of true prodigies. So thank you guys so much for sharing that advice right there too. It really does mean a lot. So Jeremiah, Rykky, Alex, and Dakota, we reached the end of my podcast right here. We talked a little over 2 hours right now. So I guess, Jeremiah, do you have any final words? Any shots you want to get before we close? We'll go around in full circles so we don't miss anybody.
Oh man, I wanted to give a shout out to Sean Dolich for recording 4 of our songs. I know he's a really busy dude, and he's always been a good friend to me. All around awesome guy. He's in multiple amazing projects like Cat Company, and he's touring right now with the band. Our Last Night, they're finishing up their tour. They killed it. I mean, but yeah, I just wanted to give a shout out to him. And then Kyle Hoffer, who's recording all of our songs in the studio tomorrow. Great guy. He just got off tour too. Is what it is. Hopefully we hop on a tour, soon. But yeah, that's it for me, man. Thanks for having us on. I appreciate you. All the way from Pittsburgh. I know you guys are in a different time zone and everything. And yeah, you're the bee's knees.
It's like, no, we're not. We're all Eastern time zone over here. It's 5:30 up here, so it's all good. I guess Rykky, Alex, or Dakota, if you got any shout outs or any final words you want to say.
Yeah, I just want to thank you for having us. This has been awesome. Anybody watching, feel free to follow us on any of our social medias. We're on every stream platform, videos on YouTube. I'll have a whole lot more content coming out here in the next couple months, and hopefully the next few years we'll be getting on a tour like Jeremiah said, and we'll be in hopefully Pittsburgh, and we'll invite you on out to a show.
I'll hold you to it, so we'll see what happens. All right. I guess I was in Dakota. Anything else?
Yeah, just like you were saying, thanks so much for having us, and just we're like Jeremiah said too. There's a lot of people that helped us record and whatnot. So obviously, we want to thank all of them and make sure everyone's help, getting the whatever that they deserve, the credit for, because a lot of people put in effort for making sure the songs come out as high quality as they do.
I was waiting on Alex.
Yeah, honestly, shout out to the band Anxiety Attack. I don't know if you guys have heard of them or not, but no, honestly, just thanks to you for having us on, having some fun, having some good conversation. I guess I'd say as of today being June 30th, my friend, his band just dropped their EP today. Their band is Florealis, Florealis. They recorded their EP months ago, and then throughout the last month or two, They were just mixing and mastering. And then while they were mixing and mastering, their lead singer passed, who was one of my close friends. And so now this EP has just kind of gone out to like honor him and his memory and stuff like that. It's very Dance Gavin Dance vibe. So if you're a big, Emarosa, Johnny Craig fan, as much hate as Johnny Craig gets, I'd say go ahead and check it out. But other than that, that's pretty much it.
All right. Thank you so much for sharing that too, and may you rest in peace. I'm sorry for your loss right there, mate. So, all right. So everyone, my guests today were Jeremiah, Rykky, Alex, and Dakota. They're hailing from down south near the Tampa Bay area. You can catch Jeremiah out in Orlando right there, so maybe you can find him at one of those metal concerts at some point. So, well, they're part of the group Anxiety Attack. Hopefully anybody does not have an anxiety attack. We're just doing it for the music-wise here too. So make sure you check these guys out. Go check them out on the socials. Go hit them up on the streaming platforms. Let's go help some brothers out right there. And the band that Alex referenced right here too. Let's also support them as well here too. So everyone, I want to wish you all the best luck going forward right there, mates. So y'all stay safe because it's a crazy world out there. Y'all rock on. Everyone pose. Stay tuned, y'all.
Thank you, man.